Good evening, everybody. Take two. We are now live online and in Los Angeles. So now that our online audience can see us, welcome to them. And we're going to get started in 10 seconds when everybody sits back down in their seats.
Thank you so much for your patience. Good evening. My name is Debbie Strom, and I am president of the Board of Directors of Temple Aliyah. 2 years ago, our own Rabbi Stuart Vogel was to be installed as the Rabbinical Assembly's president here at Aliyah, and we were all very excited. And then, of course, you know what happened, COVID. Rabbi Vogel was installed on Zoom, and we postponed the celebration. Fast forward 2 years, and we were all very excited to welcome you, the Rabbinical Assembly, as Rabbi Vogel would be discharged and his successor installed in person. Well, Rabbi Vogel, we were half right. Again, COVID. We know what happens when humans plan. We are so glad that Rabbi Vogel is feeling well, and we wish him a fast recovery. And thanks to the wonders of technology mastered by many, many months of practice, if a little bit slow, I thought he would be here live, so to speak, but I don't see him. All right. Okay. Our congregation is very proud of Rabbi Vogel's longstanding service to the Rabbinical Assembly. I am pleased to welcome Rabbi Deborah Newman Caiman, the RA's immediate past president, who is being honored this evening along with Rabbi Vogel. We are happy you're here after a 2-year postponement. Rabbi Harold Kravitz, we extend congratulations on becoming the next Rabbinical Assembly president, and I'm sure we join your congregation in recognizing your service to the RA and to Masorti. Welcome as well to Rabbi Jacob Blumenthal, the RA's CEO, who will be presiding over the installation of the officers this evening. And on behalf of the Board of Directors, staff, and congregation of Temple Aliyah, I am honored to welcome the many distinguished rabbis from not just the Los Angeles area, but from Germany, Israel, and all over North America. Thank you for allowing Temple Aliyah to be a part of this beautiful event. Good evening.
Thank you to Debbie and to Temple Aliyah. We are so appreciative of your hospitality tonight, and of course, you're sharing Rabbi Vogel with our Rabbinical Assembly for the past 2 years. As you may have noticed, I am not Rabbi Phil Shine. Unfortunately, he was unable to be here, but he did prepare the following remarks that I'm to read on his behalf. So I'm going to channel my inner Phil right now. Today, our annual Rabbinical Assembly campaign culminates with a significant measure of success, notwithstanding the enormity of pressures and concerns we face as rabbis and community leaders, and our necessary directing of resources and energies to the tragedy unfolding in Ukraine, and to our brave and tireless communities and organizations assisting those facing and those fleeing imminent danger. Nonetheless, our colleagues and friends have responded with deep generosity to our RA's call for support, exceeding expectations, and we are deeply grateful to all of our contributors, including 100% of our elected leadership, for their generosity and support. A special note of gratitude to Rabbi Harold Kravitz, soon to be our president, who has overseen RA fundraising in his volunteer capacity, who has been tireless in behind-the-scenes navigation of our campaign and other fundraising initiatives, whose warmth and whose insightfulness have always inspired me in our many years of shared RA involvements. I also thank the many colleagues who joined our host committee, who contacted their contemporaries to elicit support, and Rabbi Paul Kerbel for helping us set that significant process in motion. Our professional team has been enhanced this year with the addition of Barb Gelb, whom we share with USCJ, who has managed, in a rather short period of time, been extremely effective in maintaining our potential with her dedication to the task at hand, buttressed by her extreme skillfulness and the warmth that has made working with her, even in these recent few months, both a pleasure and a success. We thank Barb and also acknowledge her support team, Winston, and other dedicated RA staffers who have joined in the effort leading to today's culmination, along, of course, with the entire RA professional staff, so ably and inspirationally led by Rabbi Jacob Blumenthal. And now to the campaign itself. This coming Shabbat morning is one of those unusual occasions when we read from 3 Sifrei Torah, a regular parasha and the designated readings of Shabbat HaChodesh and Rosh Chodesh, 3 Sifrei Torah. Yes, good things do often come in threes. I had hoped to be with you in person to honor 3 dear friends, but COVID-19 has intervened and precludes my attendance. But my personal years of involvement in RA leadership has made clear to me that tonight's recognition of 3 outstanding Jewish leaders is deeply deserved. Leaders who have guided their home congregations for decades and who have simultaneously mustered the bandwidth to lead RRA through challenging and uncertain times. One of our 3 colleagues, Rabbi Kravitz, is soon to be installed as our new president, and our highly successful annual campaign tonight honors in his home congregation our outgoing president, Stuart Vogel, and his predecessor and my successor as RA president, Deborah Newman Caiman. Rabbi Deborah Newman Caiman acceded to the RA at a time of monumental change in our assembly. Implementation of a wide-ranging strategic plan, coupled with an extended period of transition in our professional leadership, made her presidency especially demanding of her time and requiring her assumption of a multiplicity of roles, enabling RRA to transition on all levels smoothly and effectively. Rabbi Stuart Vogel, recognized today in his home congregation, Temple Aliyah, where he had been scheduled to be installed as RA president 2 years ago, were it not for the then beginning pandemic, who served his entire presidency under the shadow and subject to the limitation and restrictions of COVID-19. More than anyone else, perhaps, Stuart was instrumental in bringing the RA and USCJ into a closeness and unified sense of purpose and mission unimaginable not too long ago. It is gratifying to me as campaign chair that our 5782 campaign was so successful. Colleagues, and many not in the rabbinate, but inspired by our honorees, have chosen to recognize great volunteer rabbinic leadership and appreciate how easy it would have been for the RA to have fallen on very hard times while synagogues and institutions have struggled because of COVID and other demographic challenges. That our RA continues to thrive, yes, due in large part to our superb professionals, Jacob, Ashira, and their team, is likewise in no small part the result of Stuart and Deborah leading our beloved assembly, Miagon L'Simcha, from challenge to celebration. Their being honored today is deeply deserved. Let me take this opportunity, that was end quote, to thank Rabbi Schein for his expert chairmanship of our successful campaign, which you'll hear more about tonight, and also to echo his thanks to Barb Galb, our Senior Director of Development, who was key in everything having to do with the campaign in this event. I'd like Barb, if she's in here, to stand up. Where are you hiding, Barb? All the way in the back. She stood up for like 2 seconds, but you should meet her and get to know who she is. She's great. Thank you, Barb. And now, on to our honorees. I'm sure you've noticed that Rabbi Vogel was unable to be here in person. Fortunately, he is available to participate remotely, and I'm pleased that we will present the following tribute video in honor of Rabbi Stuart Vogel.
Stuart is, to me, a whole lot of fun. I can't think of any time that we've been together when we weren't having a good time. Whether it was the early days when we were going through rabbinical school together out in LA, or the time that you pulled up to my door with a camper and your whole family inside. We've had nothing but good times, and I hope that we have the opportunity to share many, many more happy years of fun.
Stuart is, to me, a mentor. I have learned so much from him about thinking creatively and thinking outside the box. He's taught me how important it is to take risks and always be willing to experiment. I know he's brought that same innovative spirit to his work with the RA, just as everyone here at Temple Aliyah benefits from it every day. I am certain that the rest of my rabbinate will be influenced by Stuart's mentoring and creative energy.
Stuart is, to me, dedicated to each and every person who is part of the Aliyah community. He really wants to know and connect with each congregant of every age. He learns the name of every preschooler, and he privately counsels and cares for anyone who is struggling and who turns to him. His dedication means a day of back-to-back meetings going late into the evening and then heading home to prepare for classes and for sermons at night. It also means that Stuart takes on leadership roles, both in the Los Angeles Jewish community and, of course, with our International Rabbinical Assembly. He steps up in service to his colleagues and in service to the Jewish community at large. And on a personal level, I've experienced his dedication to mentorship that turns into friendship. Stuart, I feel blessed to have begun my rabbinical career by your side, and I feel blessed that our friendship continues until this day. Mazal tov, and thank you.
Who is Stuart Vogel to me? Stuart was the first person who called me over 25 years ago when I first started at Honoree. Stuart is the person, when I walk into a meeting, is the person I'm looking for to see if there's a chair next to, so I can sit next to him during the meeting. And Stuart was the person who, when I was struggling in my congregation, when I felt I needed guidance in order to lead my congregation, Stuart was the first person who I called. Who is Stuart? Stuart's the best. Thank you, Stuart, for all that you've given me, all that you've given our community, and all that you've shared with us. You've been an amazing leader. Thanks so much, mate.
Stuart is warm and curious, and the two go together. That curiosity has made him such a good mentor to me and a support to colleagues. His curiosity keeps him wondering how to best deliver Yiddishkeit to this generation in LA and elsewhere as well, and has made him really just accepting of so many flavors and expressions of Judaism today, and of the practitioners of it during this particularly interesting time, and that has made him just such a blessing to me and so many others.
Stuart Vogel. The one word to describe Stuart Vogel is a mensch. Stuart, you are a mensch. You are sincerely and genuinely always happy to see people. You care deeply about others, and that is expressed in so many ways, particularly in your embrace of a hug. You love to hug people, and it really is so touching, and it makes us feel like we really are loved by you. You care about us, you remember us, you talk about wanting to know what's going on in our lives. That's the kind of human being that you are. It has been such a gift to be able to partner with you down the block these last 22 years, and I look forward to continuing collaboration with you. Mazal tov on this honor to you, Deborah, as well, and from strength to strength.
Can you hear me?
We can. So Stuart already got the gift. You can hold it up or not, but imagine it looks.
Oh my God. First of all, that video was just so overwhelming. And to you, as I have during the last 2 years on screen, for the rabbis who are here, boy, you all came in from all parts of the world to participate in the new strategic plan of RRA. I'm sorry that I won't be able to share the coming days with you at Ramah, to reconnect, to hug you, to work on our next steps. I was looking forward to your friendship and creativity and just the love that we all share together for our Rabbinical Assembly. It's remarkable to think how far we've come in 2 years. As president, I stand on the shoulders of the presidents who came before me, including two most recent ones, Deborah Newman Caiman, my dear friend Phil Scheim, who is the same ailment that I have in Canada. The primary mission of the RA is to take care of our rabbis. This includes providing support in professional life, sustaining us through the challenging times, serving as a support during the difficult times, no matter the nature of the rabbinate and whatever stage of life we are in. We engage our rabbis from rabbinical school through their retirement. But our larger mission is so much more. And yet, we're still a work in progress. I am so honored to be honored by you all tonight. I really am. Curse of the pandemic, for many of us, has been a blessing as a vehicle for change. The last 2 years have allowed us to revision the RA in ways that never could have been imaginable 2 years ago. It was the foresight of those who came before me who put in place the pieces that prepared us for this moment. Those of you who know me well know that I feel truly blessed for being a rabbi and for all the blessings I have. Many of us have given a drush on the verse in Bereshit, and we're not rabbis. In addition, I have the blessings of so many friends. Some of you are in my life regularly, and others less frequently, but something ties our souls together. So when we are together, it feels as if we've never been apart. I'm grateful to Brad Artson and Craig Taubin, Naomi Levy, who have been dear friends for so many years and who are participating tonight at my request to be part of this special evening. I would not be the rabbi I am today if it weren't for so many of you, and especially my Temple Aliyah community. They are truly a blessing. They've been partners from the very beginning to Revision Synagogue life. They've been supportive of my experimental approach and are not afraid to try new things as we figure out what is going to work. At Aliyah, I'm blessed to work with clergy and other professionals who work as a team and who are equal partners in the process of synagogue life. There are just too many of you to name individually, but each of you, please know you are a blessing. We don't have failure at Temple Aliyah. We only have experiments that didn't work as we figure out what does work. I'm grateful to Debbie Strom, our president who you met earlier, Julie Devine, our immediate past president. By the way, don't ever forget any immediate past president. I'm telling y'all right now. Too many people in the congregation to name, and the congregants who are more than just congregants, as we all share the journey of Jewish life. Tonight is about RRA. What we've achieved during the last 2 years was set up by those who came before me, given opportunity by the pandemic, but only came to fruition these last 2 years through the hands of the most remarkable lay leaders and professional staff. To the officers, administrative committee members, executive council members, committee chairs, committee members, and so on, so many people that it takes to put the RA on, you have all been a blessing, and thank you for all you do for the RA. Much of our accomplishments during the last 2 years have been about our relationship with United Synagogue as we work to forge a true movement. Imagine working together with our partners, partnering in order to accomplish what we cannot do separately. It's from this partnership that we've adopted the motto of expanding our reach. And that's what we've been doing. You need to know is the friendship and partnership with my dear friend Ned Gladstein, president of the United Synagogue, that helped set the model of what our two organizations could achieve together. Finally, because we're all grateful to them, I want to acknowledge our extraordinary professional staff. Can you give them a hand, please, everybody? From administrative assistants to accounting to program to membership and so on, there are just too many to name. The RA has achieved its great success because of your efforts. And to the three people I spent the most time with over the last 2 years, well, in regard to the Rabbinical Assembly at least. Hopefully I spent more time with my wife, my assistant at the office, but they come in a very close second and third. Jacob, Ashira, and Cheryl. Well, what can I say? I believe we make a difference. Thank you for this honor. I'm deeply touched.
Thank you, Stuart, for the countless hours you have dedicated to our Rabbinical Assembly, your steadfast leadership and dedication. You brought personal care and concern for each member of our assembly to bear personally. I'm going to miss working with you as directly as we have over the last 2 years. And now to our second honoree. Rabbi Deborah Newman Caiman was president of RRA from 2018 to 2020, and I'm delighted to present the following tribute video in her honor.
One word to sum up, my good friend Debbie Caiman, hysterical. We have spent so many years laughing together, you and Danny and me and Helene, whether it was in Israel or New York or Chicago or anywhere in between. We have had such a great time together, and I just hope that God blesses us with good health to see our families grow and to share many, many happy years to come.
Debbie Newman Caiman is a friend and a cheerleader and a mentor. She's the one person besides my mom who cried tears of pride when she heard of my new position here at Temple Israel Center. And she and I have spent countless hours together at our favorite cafe, Three Tarts in Northbrook, solving our own problems and the problems of the Jewish world. But more than that, Debbie is a trailblazer and a role model. The example and the leadership that she's brought to the greater Chicago area and also brought nationally has made it very clear that women belong in positions of leadership in congregations, and they belong in positions of leadership nationally through the Rabbinical Assembly. And the hard work that she and others of her generation have done fighting many battles has made it just a little bit easier for those of us in my generation. So Debbie, I am so grateful, we are so grateful for your friendship and your leadership. Mazal tov on this much deserved honor.
Deborah is for me a friend, a wonderful colleague, a partner in dreaming about how to shape new visions of rabbinic roles in a changing world, and how to support and connect rabbis and rabbinical students all over the world. And actually, it's just fun hanging out with her.
Deborah is, to me, a friend. We first met when we were both students at JTS in the same rabbinical school class, and we've been friends ever since. Starting out in Chicago, where we both had our first pulpits, we remained friends. Have remained friends for 30 years. She was already then an extraordinary leader, and she has proven to be exactly.
As a friend. We've known each other for over 36 years. We first got our start studying Talmud together in Yerushalayim and grabbed the spotlight for herself, forgiving, understanding, and humane. These are truly prized qualities that I cherish, and I'm very proud and grateful to be her friend. Kol hakavod, thanks for all your accomplishments, and through it all, for being you 100%.
You need a minute? In appreciation for all that Deborah has done for our Rabbinical Assembly, I'd like to invite Harold Kravitz and Deborah forward for a gift presentation.
Deborah, I'll say more about you later and our dear friends Stuart and Phil, but it's an honor to be asked to present these gifts. Each of you have gotten a gift by an artist, Isaac Brynjagard Bialik, and Stuart's is on the theme of Eitz Chaim, Tree of Life. And we think about how he had this vision to push us forward, and truly, it has borne such beautiful fruit. And yours is on the theme Michamocha, the Song of the Sea. And you think about what it means to get us across the sea and through the wilderness, and the way unbelievable what you did in your presidency. Who could ever have expected that? But here is this gift from the Rabbinical Assembly with our deep, deep appreciation and such fondness.
Wow. It's unbelievably emotional on so many levels, and to thank everybody for their incredibly kind words, Phil, Stuart, Harold. It's extremely meaningful to be honored by your beloved and respected colleagues. But in truth, I've been honored by you for so many years for allowing me to serve the Rabbinical Assembly. I have to say, I always thought the Talmudic phrase, o chavruta or matuta, friendship or death, was somewhat hyperbolic. And then 2 years of COVID. And the overwhelming gratitude that we can be together, so many of us, dear friends, is overwhelming. And then the sad reminder that this pandemic is not over, and so Phil and Stuart are unable to be with us in person. I'm very grateful to our Rabbinical Assembly who've kept us together virtually. But I have to say, at this moment, o chevruta or matuta feels like a bit of an understatement. While many of my friendships in the Rabbinical Assembly began in rabbinical school, many were forged at convention, they were forged by the pool, in taking long walks, in hours and hours and hours of meetings, over many, many meals, and okay, sometimes at the bar. But they were also forged by the hard and meaningful work of transforming our RA into an organization, the only organization that cares for and supports the work of the conservative Masorti rabbis. Coincidentally, I went to breakfast today with an old friend who's not a rabbi, and I was telling her about this evening and my work with the Rabbinical Assembly, and she said to me, "So of all the people in the world you could have chosen to help, you've devoted all these years to helping rabbis?" And I really, in that second, didn't know how to answer her, but I thought about it over the course of the day, and I thought, we're all familiar with Fred Rogers and Look for the Helpers. And I thought, well, who helps the helpers? Being a rabbi can be painful, it can be lonely, and on its best days, it's the most gratifying work that I could possibly imagine. And because I love being a rabbi, I'm passionate about the work of our Rabbinical Assembly, supporting our rabbis in the sacred work of serving the Jewish people. I could say so much about so many of you and what your friendship has meant to me all these years. Our RA is blessed with an amazing and dedicated staff. Some of you, we became friends when we were all volunteers. Jacob, I remember many a night in Manhattan walking to La Marais. Some of you on our staff I've watched from the beginning of your careers with the RA, and I'm so delighted to see your continued growth and commitment to your work. The person I worked with the most closely was Rabbi Ashira Konigsberg. I was in awe of her calm, efficient, brilliant handling of the most difficult challenges, especially when I was anything but calm and efficient. And I treasure our many RA adventures together. Oh, Stuart, if you had had a normal installation, I would have gotten to speak about you there. You have succeeded me in every role I have held on our administrative committee, which means I had many, many years to ask the question over and over, why didn't I think of that? You have done so much for our RA. Many years ago, you came up with the suggestion that the Rabbinical Assembly needed to create a commission to support a vital and connected rabbinate. It took us many years to realize how visionary this concept was, as we realized over time this was no longer a commission, it was the very heart of the work of our RA. And to our incoming president, Rabbi Harold Kravitz, our RA will be in such good hands. I have learned so much from you. One of your most amazing qualities is that you have never shied away from the hardest work of this organization. I have so often admired your ability to say the things that are hard to say with firmness, wisdom, and compassion. It is a rare trait, and we can and will learn so much from you. My husband and I are new grandparents, and it's a wonderful, little Tavor. It is a wonderful time in our family. And these last 2 years of being immediate past president, I have felt like a grandparent in the RA. Most of my hard work is done, and now I get to sit back and kfel. And as I watch our beloved RA go from strength to strength, I couldn't be more proud. Thank you so much for this wonderful honor.
Thank you, Deborah, for your tireless work on behalf of our RA. Though your presidency completed in 2020, you've continued to be a key leader in our RA, overseeing the continued implementation of our strategic plan, and I'm so glad you're going to be involved in carrying it to its next chapter. Both Deborah and Stuart and our incoming president, Harold, have been instrumental in the emerging collaboration in the conservative Masorti movement, out of which comes the USCJ-RA alignment. One of our dearest partners in this work is Ned Gladstein, who recorded the following tribute video, which I am delighted to share.
Rabbi Kravitz, Rabbi Newman Caiman, Rabbi Vogel, Stuart, my buddy. We are here to celebrate your leadership at the Rabbinical Assembly for all of the wonderful work that you have done. The Rabbinical Assembly is such an important organization. Conservative Judaism needs rabbis who thrive in their job, who are spiritual leaders, pastoral counselors, marriage that you have shown in engaging with other organizations outside the walls of your own organization, to create the partnership that you have with the USCJ so that we can expand our reach and start to do things together that neither of our organizations would be able to do separately. The conservative movement needs a strong rabbinate. It needs a strong ecosystem. And I thank you all for the leadership, vision, and dedication that you have shown. I congratulate the Administrative Committee and the Executive Council for the work that the entire organization does.
Figured it out, how to make it all happen. And huge special thanks to Max Arad, who in his many, many hats is also rolling with the punches and making our video feed work as well as we can, given the surprises that we had today. And now our CEO, Jacob Blumenthal, will offer a few closing remarks.
Because you haven't heard enough remarks. So first of all, I want to also thank Stuart and Deborah for their service to the Rabbinical Assembly and to our movement. We couldn't have chosen more deserving honorees, nor can I personally express enough gratitude. I'm facing both Deborah and Stuart, wherever you may be. Can't express enough my gratitude to each of you for your devotion to our colleagues. As so many of us in this room know, the greatest gift we can have in our professional roles is to be blessed with lay leaders, and especially our most intensive partners, our presidents, who can serve not only as part of me in the spirit of Pirkei Avot, to have acquired both a chaver, chaverah, and also a rav in each of you. And I thank you both, and I hope and pray that the blessing of our friendship and our partnership will last long into the future. I want to take a moment to thank Phil Scheim and the Annual Campaign Committee for their outstanding work. In all, we have had over 250 individuals and couples participate in our campaign so far, and we've raised over $110,000 in support of the work of the Rabbinical Assembly and in honor of our honorees. And our campaign will stay open through Pesach for those who've not yet had the opportunity to make a commitment. We are so grateful to each and every colleague, each and every person who has supported this effort. Many of the leaders of USCJ have also joined together with Ned to support our RA, both in honor of our honorees and also in honor of our growing partnership and alignment. We're so grateful to all of you, and the names of all of those who have given so generously are in our booklet this evening. And thank you. I also want to take this opportunity to introduce our Morasha Society and the 12 colleagues and spouses who have already committed to legacy giving through a promised bequest to our RA. A very quick thank you to Marvin Goodman and Deborah Kelman, to Richard and Sharon Hammerman, to Deborah and Daniel Caiman, to Jan Carol Kaufman, to Jay and Leslie Kornsgold, Harold Kravitz and Cindy Reich, Joel and Sandy Myers, Phil Scheim and Brenda Bader, Jonathan and Beverly Schnitzer, Stuart and Rhodey Vogel, and Jeffrey and Judy Wahlberg, and myself and my wife Marcy are also happy to be a part of this society. The establishment of this society marks an important commitment towards philanthropic support for our work for generations to come, supporting and connecting our colleagues and renewing our movement. Thank you to our colleagues Marvin Goodman and Jonathan Schnitzer, who have spearheaded this effort, along with Harold Kravitz, who, among his many other leadership roles, serves as the chairman of our development committee. Finally, I want to also thank Barb Gelb, our senior director for development, who helped guide all of these efforts. Many thanks to the leadership and staff here at Temple Aliyah for your being such wonderful hosts for us, and also for sharing Stuart with us over these years. Finally, I want to extend a gratitude to the staff of our RA, who have made this event possible along with all of the other work that we do together. Speaking on behalf of all of our colleagues, and speaking personally, I thank you for your talent, for your passion, and for your partnership. Toda Rabah. And now, as we transition from this part of our program and move towards the installation of our officers and executive council, I am thrilled to introduce one of my favorite musicians, Craig Taubman, along with Cantor Mike Stein of Temple Aliyah, to help us celebrate this wonderful evening through song.
Stuart's calling me? Hello, Stuart. It's very funny because you called me when I was being honored by the Canners Assembly. We're supposed to get this? Oh, he does? Here, hold on. Oh, it's that one. It's to hear me. There you go, Val. Call me back. Anyway, I want to do this song. Like I said, I'm so lucky that I've been able to write so many pieces of music. This is a healing song, Rifa'enu, and I'm thinking about Stuart. Thank God his symptoms are small, but I think about the people in Ukraine and all over the world that are in need of healing. Rifa'enu Adonai V'nei Rafeh. God, only you can bring true healing, and so we pray. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofei Cholei Amo Yisrael. Blessed are you, Shechinahu, restores our loved ones, heal our people speedily in our day. V'nomar Amen. Rifa'enu Adonai V'nei Rafeh. God, only you can bring true healing, and so we pray. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofei Cholei Amo Yisrael. Blessed are you,
Shabbat Shalom. I was just seeing if anybody was paying attention. Deborah, I have my next song. It's I've never heard of that one. It's fabulous. I feel when Stuart called me, he said, I said yes. There are certain people who the answer is always yes. And I've heard that, you got to make your yes a yes and your no a no, except when you're with like these unique, amazing people. And Stuart, you are two of those people. He said to me, would you sing Holy Ground? And I said, of course. And when I heard all the names mentioned and I looked at the list of all the people, I'll just start with Elliot Dorff. I mean, for God's sakes. I mean, it's like, Gadol Hador, several other Doro. I mean, you're the guy. I love you. Harold, I thought you've been around for so long that I said, wasn't Harold before Deborah? We're on holy ground. We really are. It's a song that I wrote actually for the graduates of the Reform School, I think about 20 years ago. And I was asked to write this, but I sing it for Deborah, and I sing it for you, Stuart, and I sing it for all of us who support each other and make the ground that we stand on holy. If you know it, please sing it. And I said that for Debbie Friedman. If I go over here, is it okay?
But they won't hear it on the live stream.
They will hear it.
They will.
Every second, every hour, every day. Everything, everyone, every place and every way. How we walk, how we stand, who we love and how we pray. Our lives are holy.
Yishar Kochachem, so beautiful. We're healed. We're reminded of our mission, what it means for us to be as colleagues, as rabbis. So beautiful. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Cantor Stein, for that beautiful music celebrating our honorees and also all of us in our work. And now we'll turn to our installation ceremony, and to begin, we'll perform a beautiful ritual that we were not able to perform 2 years ago. We did it by mail, but we are blessed to be able to do it this evening in person. The Rabbinical Assembly has a special me'il, a special Torah mantle, that covers one of the Torahs in the congregation or community in which our RA president serves. For the past 2 years, Temple Aliyah has hosted that Torah mantle with pride, and we are pleased to call on Debbie to return to the Bima to officially present it to Rabbi Aaron Weininger, Rabbi and Berman Family Chair of Jewish Learning, who is representing the leaders and the members of Harold Kravitz's congregation, Adith Jeshurun of Minnetonka, Minnesota. So if I can ask Debbie and Rabbi Weininger to come up. And we'll come over here so we can do it with a picture. The official handoff.
I work with Harold Kravitz. Those 5 words have made me smile for the last 10 years. And for colleagues I meet, they invariably reply, "Oh, you work with Harold. He's the best." Of course, we already know that at a Dath Yeshurun congregation, and our Rabbinical Assembly has already benefited from your wisdom. As I was in the pews last Shabbat morning on sabbatical, as you've been holding down the fort with Joanna, I thought of you as we chanted Birkat HaChodesh, preparing to welcome the new month of Nisan. In that prayer, we ask God to grant us the richest blessings of Chaim and Shalom, of life and peace, of Sason and Simcha, of joy and gladness, and of Yeshua and Nechama, of deliverance and consolation. Your Hebrew name, Harold, Tzvi, dear, is met with your middle, Yehoshua. God is deliverance, like the deliverance named in our prayer. Your names reflect the very best in taking on the mantle of leadership, gentleness, and strength. Soon to be President Harold Kravitz, now 1,700 rabbis work with you. Joanna and I, our staff, our lay leaders, our entire congregation at Adath stands with you with love. I pray you feel the richest blessings of the Kadosh Baruch Hu as we strive to reach and help others reach God's blessings in every season. Mazal Tov.
Shar Koach, Aaron, for those remarks and for doing such a fine job, along with several of your predecessors who have worked for Harold, to help raise him to be such a wonderful rabbi and mensch. Well done. Before we move forward to install our new officers, we have a further opportunity to appreciate Stuart Vogel's leadership of the RA for these past 2 years. I'm honored to introduce Rabbi Bradley Artson, the Abner and Rosalind Goldstein Dean's Chair of Ziegler School of Rabbinical Studies, to offer a few words of Hakarat Hatov, of thanks, blessings, and appreciation for our dear colleague.
Jacob, I can't imagine a greater display of robust rabbinic optimism than inviting a rabbi to make a few remarks. Good try. I have known Stuart Vogel since he had as much hair as me. Stuart went at the time both for volume and distribution. It was all over his entire head, and he looked full of life, as he does today. And even then, Stuart, my dear friend, your smile could light up a room, could inspire a movement, could get colleagues to say yes to the impossible and demonstrate that it was actually attainable. Your cheer is not based on an empty optimism, but on tirelessness and on faith in each and every one of your colleagues, which makes us see ourselves the way you see us. I saw that when we were in rabbinical school and you were already working at White Plains doing what we were merely reading in books. And you have been touching and transforming lives from that day until this one. It's important, since we're going to be having a meal, that it not be just Zivrei Meitim, so allow me to say some words of Torah here. They stick in your teeth, among other things. In the Parshiot we've been reading, there's a lot of attention paid to the Mizbeach, to the altar. And one of the characteristics of the altar is that there is an eternal flame on that altar that comes from the divine. That God makes sure there is always a flame burning on the altar. And yet, nonetheless, 2 weeks in a row, we've been told that Kohanim are commanded to bring to the altar wood to burn. So I ask you, why is that? If God's already got the flame going, why do they need our efforts? And the answer is a Stuart Vogel answer. It's a partnership. It's not enough to sit back and let God do it all. We also need to join the effort. We also need to demonstrate by being present, by being resilient, and by being relentless, that that flame will never go out. And Stuart, you are that flame for us. So thank you on all of our behalf for being not only an outstanding human being and a great rabbi, thank you for being part of the chain of great presidents that the Rabbinical Assembly has enjoyed for many, many years. God bless you.
Thanks, Brad. Sometimes it's optimism, sometimes it's just a hint. Sorry, did I say that out loud, or was that just in my head? So before we turn to our formal installation, and as we move from an appreciation for Stuart, and I have to also say, Stuart, one of the gifts this evening has been that we've been able to see you up front and personal on the screen as you've responded to these beautiful accolades. As we turn to our new board and to our new president, we have a special surprise tribute by video for Harold.
Mazel tov, Rabbi Kravitz. We're so happy for you.
Rabbi Kravitz the Younger, we love you and we are so proud of you. Mazel tov.
Shalom, Rabbi Kravitz. I know you will be absolutely fabulous in this role. And what an honor it is for our Jewish community. And once again, you've made me very proud. Mazel tov.
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov, Harold.
Yeah.
You know how we feel about you. You are so kind, so loving, and the RA could not be luckier to get you as the next RA president.
We are so honored that we get to work with you every day, and maybe one day you'll come up with us, swing with us too. Shakor.
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov, Rabbi Kravitz. Mazel tov.
It is an absolute joy and honor to work under your leadership at Adath Yeshurun congregation. Mazal Tov on your installation as President of the Rabbinical Assembly.
Mazel Tov, Rabbi Kravitz.
Mazel Tov, Harold.
Mazel Tov, Rabbi Kravitz.
Mazel Tov.
Mazel Tov, Zaya.
Mazel Tov, Deb. We're so proud of you. It's been so wonderful to see all of the amazing things you've brought to the RA and how much they respect you, and I'm so excited for what you'll continue to bring to this organization in the coming years, and I hope that it means a lot of extra visits to New York. Love you so much.
Mazel Tov, Dad. Sending big hugs from Crete. Love you so much. Mazel Tov, Zeta.
Hello, sweetheart. I'm so glad for the RA that for the next 2 years, they will benefit from your kind and wise and steady leadership. I'm also thrilled for you that you'll get to do work that is so important and meaningful to you, that gives you opportunities to learn and grow, and that gives you so much joy. I only wish our parents could be here to celebrate with us. I love you, and I'll be here to support you every step of the way. And I hope you get to meet the Pope. Mwah.
It is clear that the love for you, Harold, extends beyond this room and all the way back to Minnesota and your home community, and we're so pleased that we can all be together, both physically and in spirit, as we welcome you into this position. And now it's a pleasure for me to begin our installation. First of all, before we install our new officers in Executive Council, I'd like to acknowledge the following colleagues who are departing from the Executive Council: Felipe Goodman, Joshua Hoffman, Marcelo Polakov, and Shalom Cantor. Each of you has served our colleagues in our assembly with distinction, and on behalf of the Rabbinical Assembly, thank you for all that you do in your home communities and for your passion, your leadership, and your dedication to all of our colleagues and for your work. Next, I would like to invite to the steps up in front of the Bima our incoming officers: Rabbi Annie Tucker, Secretary; Rabbi Aaron Brusso, Financial Secretary; Rabbi Gisa Ederberg, Treasurer; Rabbi Jay Kornsgold, Vice President; and Rabbi Harold Kravitz, our incoming President. So if you would come and stand towards the front. I'd also like to call all of our members of the incoming Executive Council to come forward and stand in the middle in the aisle, if you would. So just if you are here as an incoming Executive Council member, to come to the center. Normally I'd be moving around the room, but I want to make sure that we can be heard outside. I'll also just acknowledge, they're all listed in your program. I'll acknowledge those who've been recently elected to a new or renewed term on the council: Dror Chenkin-Gould, Amy Bardak, David Baum, Daniel Dolinsky, Mikey Goldstein, Abby Sharofsky, Jill Borodin, Bruce Bromberg-Seltzer, Gideon Estes, Helene Kornsgold, and Eric Yanoff. It's wonderful to have all of us here. The way that I'd love for us to do this installation is I would love to do it through an offering of blessing. So I'm going to ask everyone who's in the room if we could all stand. And as we prepare to offer some blessings to our incoming leadership, I'm hoping that those in the room might just call out some of the qualities or aspects of success that we wish for Harold, for our officers, and for our Executive Council members as they take on this new role. Can we just hear some of the blessings that we would offer towards them as they come into this role? And I'm going to repeat them out for the folks who are out in cyberspace. Compassion, joy, creativity, patience, sovlanut. Nice, we get instant translation, I love it. Briut, health. Ahava, love. Courage, strength. Chokhmah, optimism, clarity. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha vichuneka. Yisa
Together with Jay, Gisa, Aaron, and Annie, and an outstanding group of volunteer leaders who will serve as our Rabbinical Assembly Executive Council, and particularly to get to do that on this evening when we honor Deborah and Stuart for all that they have done, and feel, appreciate Phil for his service and accepting the invitation when I called him to say, would you do this? And he said yes. And of course, we extend our wishes for refuah shlema to both of them with speedy and complete recovery. It is especially moving for me to be installed in Los Angeles, where I began my rabbinic education at what was then the University of Judaism. Rabbi Dorff, words do not capture what I'm sure it means to Stuart, and I know it means to me, that you could be here this evening. You and the faculty you assembled at the UJ set us on this path. You must be wondering, what has the world come to that Harold Kravitz and Stuart Vogel are serving as presidents of the Rabbinical Assembly? I'm thinking the same thing. And I only said that because I really wanted to hear Elliot Dorff's laugh. Thank you. We love you. Phil, Stuart, Deborah, there's so much we have had the privilege of doing together to get us to this point. Thank you to Bill Gershon and Phil, who supported Deborah and me as we were asked by them, by Bill at the beginning, to co-chair strategic planning. Deep thanks to Cheryl Caspin. Where are you, Cheryl? Thank you, Cheryl. Who became our partner, Deborah and my partner, in 2017 in co-chairing its implementation. We are now blessed to have Cheryl serving so effectively with Jacob and Ashira, along with our entire superb staff team as we move into our future as an organization. And so I want to ask the staff to stand and to give them a hand, and to those who are standing, work that lies ahead. I want to take this opportunity to thank Michael and Aaron, thank you for the beautiful words. To thank Adath Yeshurun congregation in Minnesota, where I have served as a rabbi for 35 years. It is the only place I've worked since my ordination by JTS. The support of our staff team, we saw many of them, soon to be led by my rabbinic colleague Aaron Weininger as my successor, has made it possible for me to dedicate time and attention to the RA, and for our Chazan, Joanna Dolkin, to be the senior vice president of the Cantors Assembly at the same time. We are so fortunate to serve an outstanding synagogue whose volunteer leaders are generous in recognizing that we have responsibilities beyond our institution, and who appreciate how our staff thereby grow as leaders of your wise guidance to me at every turn. Thank you, Cindy, for your love and support that makes this possible, and for always encouraging me to be my best self. Shout outs to my sister Cynthia, you saw her, also a Rabbi Kravitz, who I can call at any time to talk about nothing. To our kids, Ilana, Talia, Gabe, and Yael, who, like every child of clergy, have put up with having to share their parents with the community, and yet have always displayed grace and a sense of humor about it. So I apologize if this is starting to feel like the Academy Awards. But after all, we are in LA the week of the Oscars. Before the music starts playing and I get escorted off, there are some observations I want to make about the work that lies ahead for our Rabbinical Assembly and for our conservative Masorti movement. In December Jacob, Ashira, and Cheryl invited me to New York to speak in person about my agenda as president for the next 2 years. I welcomed that opportunity, but responded that the priorities we needed to talk about are ours and not just mine. Our goals and priorities for the coming years are built on the hard work we have done. And we appreciate the wise counsel of Liz Soames and Marie McCormick and their staff of Insight Partners as they guided us in listening and learning as widely as possible, for which we are profoundly grateful. It has been extraordinary to see the way our staff, our volunteers, and so many of our members have come to embrace these strategic goals. When we started working on that plan in 2015, we knew that there was much troubling our conservative Masorti movement. But we also recognized that if we were ever to be able to take on those greater challenges, we first had to work